Hey there, y'all. Welcome. My name is Lisa Duke. I am a certified life and weight coach. I am also a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach through NASM and a bunch of other things as well. But the reason we're here today is to talk to my friend and colleague and advisor and knower of many things, Miss Brittany Cano. So, can you tell everybody just briefly your background as an RN, because I think that's important. And then also how you became knowledgeable about peptides, because that's our topic for today.
Perfect. Sure. Hi, Lisa. Hi, everybody. Brittany Cano, holistic nurse coaches. My background's in ICU nursing, and quickly into my career, I discovered how important it is to avoid hospitalization through preventable practices. And that's really been my passion ever since. So I work with people through a holistic view, through physical, mental, emotional support. And I got into the peptide world, actually first came into my awareness through a functional neurologist that I work with. And he was talking about all the gut benefits of BPC-157, TB500. He works a lot with people with things in their brain going on, and I'm a huge nervous system fan and always learning about that. So from the get-go, I was really intrigued and started doing my own research and got the opportunity to be able to offer it through my practice and have seen such a huge support that this is for people. It's
Mhm.
a great tool for our
Yeah.
health.
And I know we both know, mostly people I've met through you, but we both know several nurses who have moved toward a focus on prevention, holistic practices. So, you, the viewer watching this, that is your hint. When the person whose job it is to fix you in the hospital is trying to help you avoid the hospital, hint, hint. Take note. You want to do as much, again, I'm happy that the hospital is there. If I get hit by a bus, please take me directly there. But as much as possible, I think if we can take ownership, do what we can on the prevention and the wellness side, makes a big difference to quality of life. So, tell us kind of high level. And for those watching, under the heading of peptides, I'm kind of dividing into weight loss and everything else. And this video is going to be about the everything else. So keep watching if that's what you're interested in. But can you tell us a little bit? Because in my mind, the traditional model from the perspective of somebody outside the industry is, let's say, Merck discovers a new molecule. They, come up with what it's for. They do trials, double blind, placebo, blah, blah, science words. And then they patent it, they own it, they roll it out. It's very expensive to get until the patent wears off, then it goes generic. In my mind, that's how drugs and medicines come to market. But these peptides, there's a whole different route where some of them are prescription, but some of them are research compounds. Can you talk a little bit about how these things are coming to market and why it's different from the traditional path?
Definitely. So for everybody listening who's like, okay, what is a peptide exactly? Peptides are short chain amino acids. We're made up of amino acids, and we've now identified specific chains of these amino acids, small chain amino acids, that act as messengers and turn on different healing functions that are already going on in the body. And as we age, we get sick, we encounter all kinds of toxins, life happens. Some of these mechanisms go offline, they decrease. And so, what peptides do is they come back in and they activate our body's own natural healing ability. And because we already have amino acids everywhere in our body, the body generally recognizes it. And of course, this is a blanket statement that it's typically not too many side effects, if any, and relatively safe. That being said, there are a lot that are still in the research area. And so some that don't have a ton of research to support them, you're going to not be able to get under medical supervision. You're not going to be able to get those from a compounding pharmacy. You're going to end up needing to get those in this very gray, unsupervised, unregulated area of research grade only. So, with that, I just caution users to be really safe As a registered
Yes.
nurse, I can't recommend to anybody go do these research grade. So
Right.
it's kind of like within my scope of practice there. And I will say, like with research grade, a lot of time, and here's the thing, for some people, that's going to be a great option. Um, but things for people to know who are just like starting to be curious about peptides with research grade, a lot of times you're going to have to reconstitute it. So that means you're going to have to add bacteriostatic water in there. You're going to have to figure out your dose. You're going to need to know how often to give it, how many units, how many milligrams, all the things, right? And so if you go that route, you're taking on a lot of medical risk on your own potentially, and maybe
Gotcha.
depending on if that makes sense for you. Then there's the medically supervised, and then with that we're going to have a limited amount because of regulation,
Yeah.
because of safety protocols, and with that they're going to come from a compounding pharmacy. They're going to be prescribed by a medical provider, either a doctor, nurse practitioner, or physician assistant who works under a medical provider. But some,
Gotcha.
again, are not going to be approved because this is still, even though many of the peptides that are very popular now have been used for 10, 15, 20 years, we're still doing research on them. And some of them are on the newer discovery, and not a lot of research to say it really does, all the things that people say they do.
Gotcha. So why is it that there is a gray market for this? Is this just something because the internet exists? People are able to find out about it and to get it? Or is there something about peptides specifically that makes them more gray marketable or safer? Or how, if you know, how did this
I don't
situation come to
really
be?
know how
Yeah.
they became to be
Yeah.
gray area. I mean, it takes a lot for things, even though yes and no. But generally speaking, there has to be a lot for it to be FDA approved and for it to be able to be a prescription. And so a lot of money, a lot of research, a whole lot of other things go into that. And there are a lot of things that people take that are supportive that are not necessarily a prescription, that are not necessarily FDA approved. But
Gotcha.
because of this, there is, maybe maybe more, maybe less risk. I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah.
I always encourage people do your research, really do your research and check the research that you're doing. What are your
Exactly.
sources as
And
well?
consider your supplier, right? There's a difference if we're thinking about handbags. There's a difference between getting a handbag at, the Louis Vuitton store versus off a blanket on the street in New York City.
Right. And the thing with even the research grade, there are some companies that are really great. Then there's other
Mhm.
companies that can be making up all of their clearance and all their safety protocols, and there's just all made up because it's not regulated. And
Yeah.
you can just be getting it from somebody who's making it in their basement.
Yeah. Which sounds
Potentially.
scary. And also, my understanding is that's somewhat true for vitamins and other supplements, that they're not FDA approved. Sometimes there's other stuff in there. Now, again, depending upon where you sell it, the vendor may have certain testing requirements. Before you can have this in our store, you need to meet XYZ criteria. You need to be independently third party certified. But would you say it's the buyer beware factor is comparable to vitamins and other supplements, or maybe even a little extra caution?
I would be more cautious because you're injecting things into your body with a needle, typically with peptides.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a
Got it.
much higher risk of,
Gotcha.
that you want to make sure what you're injecting into your body is safe and what you think it is, and it's regulated. You look at a lab that doesn't have any real standards because it's research only, not for human consumption, written all over a website. And again, like I know people listening might be like, well, I get my peptides from a company and it's great. Okay, like, and there's some that like you don't really know what you're getting, and there's really nobody, you're not supposed to, based on everything on the site, you're not supposed to, not for human consumption. So who knows really? Where's any liability? And then you get it from a medical provider who's gone to school for 8 to 10 years and has a license that they have to protect in a pharmacy that has a ton of standards that they have to meet and inspections and those kinds of things. Um, do things happen in that area as well? Yes, there's still a
Hmm.
risk, of
Hmm.
course. It just has a higher level of regulation and safety.
Gotcha.
And you have a
Gotcha.
medical provider who's can say, like, this peptide, you've had cancer in the past year. You really shouldn't take this peptide because it could stimulate additional cell growth and you're not really out of your window. Or, oh, you have a blood condition and you see a hematologist, this is too high risk for you. Whereas if you're just going on this not for not for human consumption research only and you're giving this to yourself, there are potential side effects from these if you are the higher risk population.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, given the fact, like I think we've done sufficient disclaimers, um,
And this isn't medical advice.
no, definitely not, because I'm not a medical professional. I'm not even pretending to be one on the internet. But with those kind of disclaimers out of the way, they must be doing something for someone if you feel like you can get a safe, reputable source, because otherwise, why would anybody fool with it? So, what I wanted to do is kind of give people an overview of some of the terms they might hear
Okay.
and what is included in that and what it, again, we're not making any claims, but sort of what the reputation is, what the lore is, what people,
Okay.
why people are taking it, what they think it's doing for them. So, one thing that you might hear on the internet is this Wolverine stack. And you know, who doesn't want to look like, at least if you're a guy, Hugh Jackman? And I don't know that this is what he was taking or not, but I think that's what they're kind of
Yeah.
trying to evoke. So we talked about this earlier, and you said in the Wolverine stack is BPC 157 and GB 500. The BPC 157 is probably the one that I've heard the most about, that I think has been out there for a while. So, what is that? Why do people take that? What are they hoping that it will do for them?
So BPC is actually a gut derivative, so it can be really great for gut healing. And now we know the
Okay.
gut is involved in immunity. It's connected to the
And the
brain,
gut
it's connected
brain.
to
Yep.
mood, energy. Also really great for muscle recovery, inflammation. And then when you combine it with TB 500, it can be really great for any kind of injury, but also if you're like an active person, you have slower recovery, great for that. I've taken it, helped my tennis elbow, helped, I felt like
Mm,
my recovery time was better. I know people who really like it for supporting them and building muscle. You're not going to get bulky on BPC 157 like you would if somebody's taken steroids. Peptides are maybe if you take off label and take a ton, I don't know. But my experience with it is that they're going to enhance your quality of life. They're going to support with longevity, energy, your body's natural healing cycles. But it's like our body typically oftentimes has a checks and balance system in place. So it's not going to make you go like rogue, crazy, out of control, but it will be supportive.
gotcha. So that combination might be good for somebody that's because, and this is my understanding. Tell me if you know more. Well, I know that you know more than I do, but tell me if you know this is wrong. My understanding is the muscles usually will adapt faster to strength training than the tendons, which is why you see a lot of people that like are new to working out and maybe the bicep feels okay, but they get this weird, you know, like tennis elbow, weird little things like that. So that combination, is it intended to address, or do some people feel like it addresses those kind of issues?
It can be great for that. It can be great for people that have worked out for years as well and are just noticing like, oh, I don't recover like I used to, or I would like to get a little bit more out of my workout. But also, yeah, really good if
Gotcha.
you have tendon issues, if you've had a surgery or going into surgery, can be really great for that. Again, for gut health,
Yeah.
BPC is awesome for that.
Gotcha. What about, and if you don't know, that's an acceptable answer, but torn labrum, like in the hip, in the shoulder, if it's promoting healing, could that heal on its own more easily, or is that something you've heard
It's
about one
definitely
or the
going to
other?
support, in my opinion, and all the research I've looked at is a good chance it's going to create a more healing environment in the body. Will
Gotcha.
not going to say it's going to cure anything, but
Right.
like that would be one of my go-tos personally.
Gotcha. That could be something
For
that
any
could
kind of
help
like
the body
muscular
recover.
skeletal kind of injury, I would definitely go to BPC.
Gotcha. All right. Another one that I have heard a lot about is this glow stack. So what's in there and what's it supposed to be doing for people?
So the GHKCU, I know all these names, is a big one for hair, skin, nails, collagen growth. And then when they put it in the stack, usually they combine it with the BPC and the TB500. But I have clients who take the GHKCU for either hair loss or to help with their skin and notice like, oh, my skin is a lot better. I have more, collagen in my face, or like see new hair growth if they had hair thinning. So it can be really good for that. So it's a
Gotcha.
combination of the BPC TB 500, and then it's got the GHKCU in it as well, which is a copper peptide.
Okay.
It's cool. It's kind of like purpley blue, actually.
Well, that's a bonus if
I
it's
know. I was
green.
like, is this how this is supposed to be when I first got it?
Now, what about so the BPC 157 we talked about earlier? The TB 500 you kind of mentioned in passing. Is that one like what is that one good for kind of on its own?
It's gonna, again, like a musculoskeletal kind of injury recovery. It's gonna help with like vasculature, like like the blood vessels around an injury. It's gonna help again with recovery a
Gotcha.
lot.
Okay. Okay. And then when we were preparing just now for this, you also mentioned there's some that are related to growth hormone, but not the actual growth hormone itself. So can you tell us about those?
Yeah, so sermorelin is one that's going to work on the body's growth hormone. It's going to help produce more growth hormone naturally. So, like, as opposed to if you take growth hormone, your levels could potentially get really high. Most of the times with peptides, like your level of growth hormone is going to go up, but not like exponentially go up. So clients often will take that for sleep. Actually, like people who have a
Hmm,
hard time sleeping, you take it at night, and so because it activates the growth hormone, so it'll help you get into deeper sleep. Also, another one that's good for recovery, as well as it has some benefit in targeting visceral fat as well. So I have some clients on that. They love it. They say like they feel absolutely amazing. I personally haven't tried that one yet, but I hear really great things about it. And then there's tesamorelin and ipamorelin. It tends to be a little stronger than sermorelin. It works on the growth hormone. It does work a little bit different mechanism of action, but it also does activate the growth hormone, and it can be helpful at targeting visceral fat as well. With both of these, people tend to be able to build a little bit more muscle.
okay.
Not
Yeah.
like bulk up, but sometimes people are really having a hard time. Like they're working out and they're just like no muscle gain whatsoever. So it can really help with building muscle as well.
Gotcha. And again, we're saying a lot of the research has not yet been done, but it seems like theoretically this could be really good for somebody that has ooh, the word just flew out of my brain, where you've lost muscle. Not osteoporosis, but the other one. Do you know what I'm talking about? It'll fly back in my brain in a minute.
Well, with yeah, and I feel like this is why it's so good to be screened by a medical provider. Like, why are you losing muscle? Like, are you rapidly losing muscle because you're not eating? Like, there might be a bigger issue at hand. And this is why, like,
Sarcopenia. I told you it would come back.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. This is what I preach to the choir all the time is like, yes, peptides are amazing and like a really great tool for your toolkit, but they don't replace lifestyle and they're not standalone. Like you can take them and not do any lifestyle thing. Like you may still see some benefit, like because they do activate those healing mechanisms in the body, but you really need to do them paired with lifestyle. I
Yeah.
I don't think of them at all as like an excuse not to
Yeah.
address lifestyle.
Honestly, and again, correct me if you know differently. That's the same way I feel about prescription medications. I think a lot of people, especially maybe our parents' generation, were somehow left with the opinion of, well, you can do diet and exercise, but maybe that won't work, or it's not really important, or it's kind of optional. Just take this pill. And okay, maybe you can delay the consequences of having a not so great diet and not exercising. Maybe it hits you at 70 instead of 50. That's great.
Yeah.
And also, even with prescription medications, there can be side effects. Like you still just, you got to eat the vegetables, drink the water, eat the protein, do your
Move your
homework,
body.
brush your
Yeah.
teeth. You
It,
just,
you can, right? Like,
yeah, you got to
I've
do
done,
that. And then this is just extra on top. So you get maybe faster recovery or more results for your efforts. But yeah, nothing replaces actually doing it. I think this is just a principle of human life. Like nothing actually replaces doing the
it
work.
doesn't. It doesn't. And like,
Womp,
as
womp,
big
womp,
of a fan as
womp.
I am of peptides, like, you have to do the lifestyle piece. Like, the
Yes.
picture is we need to be building those healthy
Yeah.
habits.
And I'll be fair, I do think the transition is a challenge, which can be made easier if you get
I
support.
think
And
they're
there's,
great tools. I
yeah,
think they can be great tools,
yeah,
especially like if you're feeling horrible, you have absolutely no energy, you're not sleeping, maybe
mhm,
you are 60, 70 pounds overweight. Like it's really hard to move your body. Like these can be really great catalysts to get you in a place so that you can move a little bit more, that you
exactly.
can have
Yeah.
like the brain capacity to make some better decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe people start to feel hopeful of like, oh, okay. Because people get in that mindset of nothing's going to help. So if something starts to help, then, you can get that ball rolling where you get on that upward cycle of like, oh, okay, I feel a little better. Maybe I do have the energy to go for a walk. And then you build from there. All right. So you also told me before we started that there are one or some for libido. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the one I'm familiar with is PT-141. So it works on, from my understanding, I believe it works on like the desire center of the brain, and it also works on increased blood flow. So it's for men and women and can help with libido, can help with sexual pleasure, sexual
Mhm.
experience. That one typically, I believe you only can take 4 times a month. Like you can't
Mm.
take it all the time. But then you don't, I would say, not have as many side effects as like a man would have with Viagra. And I don't know if there is anything prescription for women. Is there now?
There is
There, okay, I was gonna say I kind of get
testosterone.
drugs all the time. What is it?
Testosterone.
Oh, okay. Well, testosterone, yeah. But there's
Yes.
not a like
I do
pharmaceutical.
think there's like an actual like pill, and I heard an interview with the lady who had invented it. But of course it's for women, so it doesn't get any press.
I think testosterone would be great. Like, and be like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, great.
Yeah.
And PT-141 can be supportive
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, and that would be a question with a lot of and again, it depends on who the viewer is. Obviously, if you're a 24-year-old guy, then you don't need
You probably don't need that.
menopausal hormone therapy. Like you don't need probably prescription estrogen and progesterone. But I always assume most of my clients are like me. So middle-aged women trying to make good choices and also have other stuff to do. So, a lot of these symptoms that you mentioned are also things that can be addressed by menopausal hormone therapy. Now, I know it's not for everybody, but it's for a lot more people than people think it's for. So, how would somebody decide, do I need to look into hormone replacement therapy or should I start with,
So a
um,
lot of my ladies, some are already on HRT, so that's great, right? They're already addressing that. Quite a few are like perimenopause, like they're going through it. So it's really not one over the other. Like this is not going to replace bioidentical hormone replacement any way you spin it. It'll help with side effects of perimenopause. Like it will be supportive, but it can take a while for those hormones to find your miraculous hormone concoction. And so a
yes,
lot of times clients will start on this because typically people feel a significant increase in feeling better with peptides while they're figuring out, okay, how much testosterone do I really need? Do I need progesterone? No, maybe I don't. Like that kind of thing. So a lot of times they're taking both. But
gotcha.
it
So
can be
it's
they
kind of
go
like,
together, but peptides don't replace hormone replacement therapy for those that
gotcha. Okay.
wanting
So
to
it's
do
kind of like I'm making a sandwich. Do I need peanut butter or jelly? The answer is yes.
it.
Yes. Talk to a healthcare provider. Everybody is different. And again, I'm not trying to push anything on anyone. I just like to learn. And then as soon as I learn something, or sometimes even before I learn it, I like to teach. But I am a big believer in like just getting the information, just knowing. And there are a lot of people that are very closed off on the hormone therapy. Um, and I would really, this is not officially today's topic, but just while I'm on my soapbox, I would really encourage people not to just have their answer and stick with their answer. Um, Look into it. So the whole thing about menopausal hormone therapy causes breast cancer, that study, the Women's Health Initiative, that piece of it, my understanding is it's been largely debunked. The scientists who were involved in that came in with a belief. And when they found like a hint of a shred of a possibility of something that was not actually statistically significant, but almost nearly statistically significant, they really rushed to push that out there. So, not my area of expertise, but there's a really good book called Estrogen Matters. I'm looking behind me because I think it's on the shelf back here. Yes, Estrogen Matters. And also Mary Claire Haver's book on menopause is really, really good. So don't believe you know the answer. You may know
What
the
is the
answer for
latest
you, but
research? Be open at least to exploring it,
yes,
because we do have still a lot of the old information is, I think limiting women from getting access to bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, which could save their quality of life in a lot of ways and their marriage and their
yeah,
family
yeah. And I
situation.
I think a lot of people will tell you like I was actually hanging out with some friends of mine a couple of months ago this fall. We did a girls' trip, and one of the women insisted she was definitely not in perimenopause, not having any symptoms. And then she kept mentioning things, and we're like, yeah, girl, that's
It's
perimenopause.
easy to be in denial.
Well, and there's denial, and there's just, and I don't mean this in a judgy way, but ignorance from the perspective of
Well,
not
here's the thing.
knowing.
Almost every symptom could be perimenopause. It's about, don't you feel like that? So it's like, these people are like, no, that can't be perimenopause because like nearly everything can be. But when you start to look at
Yeah,
why, it
yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
And I do believe, again, if some people sail through and they feel good, you're not required to do anything because some ladies on the internet said words. Um,
Of
and
course.
also, then you have to look at the long term. Like, okay, you feel good now, but do you like your bones?
Yeah.
Do you like your heart? Like it offers a lot of other protections. And I see a lot of people on the internet that say, well, menopause is natural. Yo, erectile dysfunction is natural. If a man has had too many cheeseburgers and he's not getting sufficient blood flow to Mr. Happy, then he can't perform, and that is natural. But we have no problem addressing that symptom. And for some reason, women actually suffering is less of an emergency than a dude who can't,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
feel like the field is starting to change, but like for women listening who are having, if you look at the perimenopause symptoms, which I think there's like 60 something on the list, don't quote me, and your provider's like, no, you're not in perimenopause, or no, this isn't a big deal. Like it is important to find either a provider that listens to you or continue to have that dialogue and advocate for yourself to your medical provider, because unfortunately, there is still a huge gap in women's health, and it's starting to change, but we as individuals either hopefully can find a provider that will listen or get to continue to advocate for ourselves because
Yeah. A provider that will listen and is up to speed.
yeah.
So, unfortunately, that's two things you need. So, all
Yep.
right, sorry for the side tango, but like I feel very strongly. Anything else that would be good to know about somebody first looking into peptides? Anything big that we missed?
I think like looking at what's your goal with peptides, like is it a symptoms that you're having that you're wanting support with, or is there like a state of health or fitness or quality of life that you're wanting, whether it's like I want better muscle recovery, I want deeper sleep, I want more energy. And then again, like I said in the beginning, symptoms like I have brain fog, I'm achy all the time, I have no libido, or um, I have this injury that's not getting better, or I have, visceral fat that I can't get, stubborn visceral fat I can't get rid of. I know I'm inflamed. So looking at that and then working with a professional to help direct you on, okay, this is what would be a great starting point for you based on your medical history, based on your symptomology, based on your goals. And on top of that, also doing your own research is so
Yeah.
important as
Yeah.
well. I always preach that because it's important not to just, and again, like not everybody listening, most people probably don't have a medical background, but still at least just have some information. Don't tell
Yes.
everything just,
Yeah. And do some research. Like, there is some good information in random places, and there is some bad information in those same places. So, ask your friends. You can look at TikTok, and also Google Scholar is your friend. A lot of those papers are very dense, they're hard to follow, but I would just supplement what we're finding in the wild with what actual experts are finding in labs, and see
yeah.
if you can get those to agree, you're probably on the right track. Here's one quick question about peptides before we wrap up. If I start taking this, is this something I have to take forever?
No, you're going to cycle them.
Okay.
I think that's a big piece that like makes them on the safer side too. Like other than the GLP-1s, most of the peptides you're not going to take all the time forever. You might do a cycle of BPC and then, excuse me, have a cough. Might do a cycle for 8 to 12 weeks.
Gotcha. And is that just so it doesn't like build up in your system, overwhelm your body's natural ability to produce
A
it, or is it
lot
are
of
there
times
any
the
of
idea
them
is
that you
that like
take as needed?
it's like you've activated that healing mechanism,
Hmm.
so you want that process to work itself. Um,
Gotcha. It's like pushing the go button. You don't want to constantly push it. You want to kind of push it and then let it
Correct. And for
run.
some of them, you may need to do like 2 or 3 cycles with breaks in between. And then you might not need to take it or want to take it for 2 years, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Everybody's going to be different. It's not ever a one size fits all.
Gotcha. But I would guess there's kind of a recommended protocol,
There
like
are
based on
recommended
what you're
protocols.
hearing, what you're
There,
feeling, this is what we would recommend. And also, if you get through your first cycle and you didn't like it, or you don't want to do it, or
yeah, you don't need to
you're
taper
cured.
off of them. If you start for 4 weeks and you have a 12-week cycle and you decide I want to stop, you're not going to get the benefits of 12 weeks, but you're not going to have any repercussions of stopping it, early. At least the ones that we talked about here. There's a lot of peptides, so I could be,
Yes.
maybe there are some that are like that, but the ones that we talked about, you can cycle through. You can do one cycle and get the benefits and say, you know what, I'm good for now. And then maybe you want to restart it next year.
Nice, nice. All right. And I'm guessing one of the ways, if people want to, they've looked into it, they feel comfortable, this is something you have some expertise on and you can help people with,
It
correct?
is. Yeah, I work
Okay.
with medical providers. I'm a nurse, so I work with an upper level medical provider, and I like educate and kind of point you in the direction to help you decide what might be a good starting point. And then the medical provider clears you, make sure you're medically clear for it. And it's a really simple process. It ships directly to your house for
Nice.
self-administration.
And is that something where you're only licensed in certain states or you can do that anywhere in the
I have
US?
providers in all 50 states.
Okay. What about shipping overseas?
I don't have that.
Okay. Find somebody locally. But if you're in the US, Brittany can help you with the
Yeah.
education and getting all set up and on the right track. And then you also have some events coming up if people want to hang out
Yeah.
and do more holistic wellness with you. Tell the people about
So
that.
we have a week of all things wellness, fun, adventure, relaxation. We have a retreat May 13th and 19th. It's a reset and recharge retreat. So it's gonna be a really nourishing mind, body, soul retreat near Tulum in Mexico. We even have our own private cenote. So like this little cave where we can do our sound bath and our music and meditation. I'm stoked for that. The retreat center is gorgeous. You don't need to cook. You don't need to do laundry. You just get to be taken care of all week long. So that's
Can
a
we
lot.
move there?
Like, why is it gotta be over?
Like, yes, except for money. That's the only flaw in the plan. But
You know,
yeah, that
that's
sounds great.
so hard. And then in November, we're taking a small group to Argentina, and that's an adventure wellness retreat. So that'll definitely be more like less relaxing, more hiking, movement, culture. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to go to Patagonia. So I'm stoked.
Fantastic. You can get the little fleece while you're there.
Yeah, we're going to be cold. It's going to be cold.
No, you get the joke because it's a brand.
Yeah, I love Patagonia. Yeah, I get it now.
Like going to Colombia and getting a Columbia sweatshirt. Then you can
But
go
it's
to
spelled
Patagonia.
differently there.
What's that?
That's spelled differently. The brand is with a U, and Columbia, the country. Well, it depends. I guess if you're in Columbia, the city, it's a U, but the country is an O. Colo.
Colombia.
Colombia. See. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Versus, I guess some of them are maybe spelled after Columbus, or I don't know.
Yeah, people
Google is your
spell
friend.
Colombia, South America incorrectly a lot.
Yes, no doubt, no doubt. All right. Well, thank you so much, Miss Brittany. Oh, and if
So,
people want to find you directly, real quick, tell everybody.
holisticnursecoaches.com. You can find the retreat on there. You can connect to me if you want to talk peptides or coaching. Yes. And what
Yes.
about you? How do
Oh,
people connect with you?
thank you for the
You got
fabulous
going
setup.
on.
So the best place to kind of get an overview of my background, what I do, lisaduke.net, lisaduke.net. So if you are local in the Treasure Coast area of Florida, I do personal training out of my home office slash studio, this space, but we don't use the books.
You bust and do squats. No, I'm
Yes,
just kidding.
exactly, exactly. So, yes, I do personal training here. I can teach some private yoga classes, small group, if that's something. I know both of us are yoga teachers, both of us are trainers, so that's something you could talk to either of us for. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm also a weight coach. So I really, my approach to that, because the people kind of know. Again, we kind of know it's probably like vegetables, water, protein, and then a mix of other stuff just so you get all your minerals and everything. But the question is how, right? So I know what to do. I just can't get myself to do it. How do I establish the habit? How do I, kind of onboard myself? People, and everybody's different, but a lot of people tend to be very all or nothing. And, we're at February. So what happened to all the people who signed up for the gym January 1st
Yeah,
or
you're really
first
getting
week
me
of
behind
January?
that. And like,
Yeah, a lot of them are already off track. So we commit big, but perhaps unrealistically or unsustainably big, and then we fall back off. So my philosophy is really helping people create tiny habits, little shifts, little changes. So we're just making little incremental changes that layer on top of each other. So little by little, sort of brick by brick, the wall is built. So that's something that I can offer to really, I guess, anybody worldwide. I've had clients, Americans, but clients that were overseas. Most of my clients are in the US, but that's all done via Zoom. So I can work with anybody,
and you've
anywhere in the world.
released what, 50 pounds or something yourself? More than that,
Gosh.
probably.
Yes. And it was during COVID. So it was especially dramatic because we moved down here and I weighed over 200 pounds. And then, South Florida, we never really shut down, but people were out and about. A lot of people were out and about a bit less. And then I came back and everybody was like, shut up. What are you doing? I'm like, well, I can walk you
Cute.
through what I did, Yeah. So that's really my passion is helping people make little sustainable changes so it's not so overwhelming and they can succeed. So
Love
with
that.
that, I will let you get on with your day and
Thanks for having me. It was always
anybody
fun
watching
connecting
get
with
on
you.
with their day. So, all right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye.